Innovation requires putting some money in. Most of the big pharma companies, at least as much as I know, invest about 18% of their revenues into research and development.
Hey, what's up, everybody? Welcome back to Love Gangster. I'm your host, Adrian Boysel, and today I have another interview with a very special guest, Mr. Mac. How you doing?
Good. I'm doing well. Thank you very much.
Good to have you on it.
Thank you. Thank you so much for having me here. And I heard so much good about you, so I said, I must talk to you.
Thank you. I'm excited. Are you going to be speaking this weekend?
Well, I already had a stage
Oh,
this
perfect.
morning.
Perfect.
So yeah.
So tell for everybody that doesn't know you, give us a little bit of background
Yeah,
about you.
my background, I got my PhD in pharmaceutics from the University of Minnesota in Minneapolis. After having finished my PhD, Pfizer essentially came to me and said, "We want to recruit you," and so I went directly from my PhD program to Pfizer Central Research. That's what we called then. Now it is Pfizer Global R&D, and I started with them in '82.
Wow.
And I worked there until 2010, so almost 28 and a half years. Had a wonderful journey there.
Wow. What do you think are some of the biggest wins of your career?
Yeah, so I started as a research scientist. I had a chance to get my hands dirty into developing new formulations.
Yeah.
Formulations was my area. Drug delivery was my expertise over the years, and I had a chance to work on formulations of Zoloft, Zithromax,
Wow.
Norvasc, and also some of the life cycle management projects, such as fast dissolving Viagra, where you could have a faster onset. So
Got it.
some of those projects I literally loved working on.
That's neat.
So
So I know a little bit about the industry. I had a friend that worked for Merck, and we've talked a little bit about it. Um, what I'm curious about, just from my world as a parent, right? There's some misconceptions and some misinformation and things about the pharmaceutical world that people don't know, right?
Yeah.
They're told by their doctor to do one thing, and then all of a sudden they find out something completely different, or they have some sort of effects. What are some of the misconceptions that you like to educate or clear up for people?
Yeah, so one of the things that I always hear in the media is drug prices, right? I
Mhm.
mean, that's one of the things I hear.
Yeah.
And that's an area that I can really understand and teach, because why is the price so high? It's not the price of that particular drug why it becomes so high, because when you work on 100 different projects or compounds,
Yeah.
out of 100, maybe one will succeed and 99 will fail.
Yep.
And that failure, somebody has to pay for it.
Mhm.
And if that one drug succeeds, and it is a game changer, or it is kind of doing a unmet medical need, then I think that deserves the price it dictates. And I think it's for that reason alone the companies need to recoup their money for their shareholders and everything else that they do.
Yeah.
And innovation is the key. Innovation requires putting some money in.
That's right.
And I think most of the big pharma companies, at least as much as I know, invest about 18% of their revenues into research and development.
Wow.
And that revenue, obviously, you have to not only get that back, but then make the profit for the shareholders. So it's not that the drugs are highly priced, but it takes so much time. It takes from anywhere from 10 to 15 years for a drug to come to market, because it has to go through,
So many
as we know,
testings.
preclinical, clinical,
That's right.
phase 1, phase 2, phase 3, and then all the things that you have to do with the federal drug administration. FDA has lots of
It's funny.
regulations.
That reminds me, people ask me about my pricing and, oh, $5,000, $10,000, $15,000 for a design, for a logo, or for a brand, right? And I'm like, it's not the $15,000 you're paying for me to do it in 5, 10, 15 minutes, an hour, or 5 hours. It's the 15 years, 20 years that I've been practicing and researching and learning and perfecting my craft that you're paying for. It's the experience you're paying for me to be able to do it in 5 hours or 5 minutes, right? Whether on a napkin, right? Paula Scher drew the Chase Bake logo on a napkin and sold it for like $5 million. They're like, why would I pay you $5 million for something that took you 5 minutes on a napkin? Because you're paying for the 25, 30 years, right? That's
Exactly.
what that reminded me of.
Yeah, the experience makes you the person you are today. And I think if you didn't have the experience, then anybody else can just say, "Hey, I can do this, I can do that."
That's right.
But I think it is tough to find people with the experience, and that too, it's not just experience. You have the success stories behind you.
Yeah,
You have the
absolutely.
case studies that you can tell people.
Correct.
You have the knowledge that you can teach people, and you can essentially make from somebody who is that little, you can make that business big,
That's right.
and that's the value you bring.
So we kind of understand now a little bit of your past. I'd love to kind of catch up, from 2010 to now. What are you currently working on?
Yeah, so right after I came out of Pfizer, what I did was, Pfizer wanted to divest one of their companies that they had acquired from Warner Lambert, and Warner Lambert was acquired in 1999, and then there was an outfit called Capsugel, which manufactures capsules for every company out there in the world.
Got it.
The gelatin capsules,
Yep.
hard gelatin capsules. So Pfizer said that's not our core business.
Mm,
And although it's a profitable outfit, we don't want to carry this on. We want to divest
got it.
Capsugel. So then, since I was involved pretty much with some of the stuff that Capsugel had done, I approached KKR, and KKR said, we would love to have you work with us and do the due diligence
Nice.
with Pfizer and Capsugel. So I did that, and they were successful in acquiring
Nice.
Capsugel for $2.4 billion.
Whew, that's a big investment.
Yeah, so they did investment, and then they grew the company for 4 or 5 years, and then sold it to Lanza for almost $6 billion.
Okay.
So that's
So
what KKR does.
so because of your vast experience in the industry, then you've kind of transferred over to more of a consultant and investor, kind of guiding the investment.
Yes, the
Okay.
private equity firms are somebody that I worked with over the years since I retired from Pfizer, and they acquire companies. They acquire smaller outfits and technology outfits. They acquire companies which help pharma companies with certain things. So it could be drug delivery, it could be CMOs, CDMOs, CROs. So all these companies
Oh yeah.
which are essentially kind of vendors to the pharma company.
Mm-hmm.
And those vendors, they have to know how pharma companies work, and these vendors need to know what the needs are. So I kind of have, since I used to do some outsourcing from Pfizer while I was at Pfizer
Yeah.
to all these CDMOs, CMOs, and CROs, I could see, how I could bring the value to the CDMOs and CMOs now that I'm no longer within Pfizer.
Yeah.
So that's something that I could do, and I enjoyed doing that.
That's neat. So what does the vision look like? What is the future holding for?
For the future is, I think the industry changing, so I'm changing, the way I do things nowadays. The AI, you just heard me there.
Yeah.
That's impacting quite a few things. So I'm working with companies. I was on a board of a company called Cyclica RX, and that was also based on AI, and that company got bought by Recursion Pharma, and Recursion Pharma is, again, it's another company which is working on AI
Wow.
for drug discovery. So you can do, kind of break down the time it takes from 5 years to a year.
That's right.
So time savings, and again, that saves your resource,
Yeah.
money and people. So
Costs.
that is changing how the companies are now doing their work. So instead of having big discovery division,
Yeah.
now companies say, okay, we don't need that much discovery. We can go to biotech companies and essentially either license the compounds which are successful in the proof of concept,
Yep.
or we can buy out the company if they have many good compounds which are showing promise.
Wow. That's really neat.
So
Yeah.
that's what happened.
I was going to ask about the AI dynamic of new discoveries because of AI and speed, and sounds like there's a lot of different
Lot
aspects.
of applications, and I think that's changing how the companies are nowadays hiring people. And then some of the stuff that AI can do, even they can write, the new drug application documents and what is required in the CMC documents. So there are lots of things because they are out there.
Mhm.
AI can do that.
Yeah.
And then what one has to do is apply it to, your drug and see exactly how it is to be formatted and all that. So that thing is happening as we speak, and I think that's going to bring huge value.
Oh, wow. That's really great. So, as you saw earlier, I'd love to challenge everybody that's listening to these episodes and watching the show. What is something that somebody can go out and do, whether big or small, that they can go out and challenge somebody for social impact, to make a difference, to help somebody's day, week, year become better, or life?
So I think what I always say is, I think mind body connection, so I think what you need to have is, drug is not the solution to all. You need to train your mind, train your body, and do whatever is needed for you. In other words, you know, do dieting instead of taking drugs to reduce your weight. If you can diet and do that,
That's
that's
right.
better.
Yep.
Instead of trying to do something which is not needed, I would say go for the natural means first before you get into start taking medications
Yeah.
and whatnot that may not be needed. And obviously, some of the medications have side effects,
Yeah.
and you may not want to have those.
It might not work well with your body, right?
It may not work with your body, and if you can do it with diet control and even mind control, I mean, mind is another thing.
Yep.
So meditation and mind body connect, these are all connected, interconnected. And I think if you can do it right and train your body, saying that, hey, I'm not going to eat carbohydrates, I'm going to cut down on that.
Yep.
I
Like a
instead of
carnivore type of diet.
yeah, and then I'm not going
So
to
many issues have been healed with that carnivore diet. And I don't think it's a great thing long term, but
Yeah.
for a short period, you
Short-
get those things under control, reduce the inflammation from
exactly
the carb, and change your body over from a carb diet to a meat diet. That's
exactly. And then inflammation is the biggest factor. So if you can cut down on sugar,
that's right.
you should. I mean, sugar is the culprit in
Yeah.
my
So
opinion.
many things.
If you can cut down on sugar and carbohydrates intake and all that stuff, I think you will be much better person, because you will not have inflammation. And if you can do that, you'll be a happy person, and you control your mind, do your yoga, do your meditation, so all these things,
Mind,
the
body, spirit.
mind, body, spirits. I mean, that's what I believe in. So
Beautiful. Well, you heard his challenge. Go out there and take care of your mind, body, and spirit for yourself, and encourage somebody else to do that in your life that may be struggling before you just jump to a pharmaceutical or a pill and try to get a magic thing. It's going to help with symptoms, but it's not going to cure the root. So go out there. That's your challenge for this week. I want to hear about it. Report back to me what you're doing. Maybe you're doing carnivore. Maybe you're changing something. Maybe you're adding daily prayer. I look forward to hearing back from you guys. That's your challenge, or you'll be swimming with the fishes. Capiche? All right. Thank you so much, Mac, for the interview. It
thank
was
you so
fantastic. It's great to meet you. I look forward to seeing you guys on the next episode. I'm Adrian Boysel, and as always, keep looking up.
Came here to fill the void. I am love. I am peace. I am joy that can never be destroyed. I am love.